And here we are.
The technical difficulties.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, here we are. Welcome to Trauma Triple Take. My name is Margaret. I'm joined by my two wonderful co-hosts, Mel and Amber.
Hello.
We are here. We had a hell of a time getting here, but we are here and we're happy to see you. So as always, let's start with our disclaimer. So the views and opinions expressed on Trauma Triple Take are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute professional, medical, psychological, or legal advice. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis, please contact the National Crisis Hotline at 988 or your local emergency services. Listener discretion is advised as some episodes may contain sensitive subject matter, including discussions of trauma, abuse, and mental health challenges. By listening, you acknowledge that you do so at your own discretion. So, the topic tonight is emotional neglect. So, what does that mean to you? Again,
Let's just we tried this just so people know, like we tried this, but we weren't actually live, and so we're just having to redo it.
We got about 10 minutes in. So.
Yeah.
No, I would say emotional neglect to me, I think of it from a child perspective. So I know it can happen in any relationship, but my main orientation when it comes to that thought-wise is for the child perspective. And it means not meeting your child's needs emotionally in general. So you can have like food, shelter, water, but anytime that you express emotion, it is either ignored or trying to shut it down or denying your experience, or just trying to twist it in some way like that, or not even being there in general. So to me, I guess that would be like the biggest identifiers in emotional neglect. What about you, Amber?
Yeah, so my view, which again, I do also identify with that parent-child dynamic. But I also think of romantic relationships with a partner that just isn't there to support you emotionally. And kind of the same things, that they discount your feelings and they don't have the deeper conversations, avoid that, not listening, and I feel like I said this better the first time.
Right?
But yeah, just like basically they're just not being there for support, like emotionally, and it creates kind of a loneliness feeling, like you're in it alone, like you don't have that person there supporting you for those emotional needs, meeting your emotional needs.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's well put. And then the first time I like addressed that, it reminds me of a topic that we learned about, or like an idea that we learned about in our coaching classes about attunement, which is basically just like letting your client know that you're there for them and that you're listening to what they're saying. And I think that same idea of attunement carries forward in all like relationships and relationship aspects. So like if you're being emotionally neglected, then that attunement is not present or is not always present. And that kind of inconsistency, or sometimes it is consistent neglect, but I feel like a lot of times it's that inconsistency that you kind of like don't know where you stand with that person in a way, and your needs are not being met. And that back and forth in the relationship just doesn't really exist. So I know in my own perspective and like circumstances, I experienced both like emotional abuse that was very intense and coercive and manipulative. And then there was also like elements of emotional neglect there too, from the other party. So it's just like difficult, you kind of get it from both ends. What are your experiences? What else do you have?
I also experienced an environment with emotional abuse and an emotional neglect, and I think I said an emotional neglect in general, not just one. But I experienced that too growing up, and it was very challenging to experience it, mainly because it made me question a lot of my reality. When you have a parent who isn't able to attune with you or isn't able to meet your emotional needs, and have somebody that is constantly kind of blaming you for why the experience happened or telling you that you're being too much, it just really erodes your sense of self-confidence and your sense of trust in your emotions, which is, I feel like, what a lot of people experience growing up, and that we don't talk about it enough, honestly. But it can just really make it hard to trust your own sense of reality in a way.
Yeah.
What about you, Amber?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I like have a lot of thoughts. Yeah, I have experienced both in romantic relationships and I guess it's kind of hard, like, because I do think of my dad, who was I love my dad. Well, he's passed away, but um he's a good dad, but he had his own like emotional issues that he didn't deal with, and so he was very emotionally blocked off. Like, I literally don't think I had ever seen him cry, maybe once. And it wasn't, we usually didn't have like deep conversations. It was more surface, which is weird because, like, I mean, he showed me that he loved me in his way. Like, I'm not saying like he didn't, but there was just definitely an emotional block there, which made our relationship a little bit harder. And I feel like just not as close, maybe, as like my mom, because my mom's very, she actually relied on me a lot for emotional support from a young age. So that's also not necessarily healthy, but so I've had some different experiences, and then definitely not good relationships with people who just dismissed my feelings. And I agree with what you said, Mel. Like, it kind of makes you kind of question like your own reality, or like if you're valid in having those feelings. So I can definitely relate to that too.
Well, and I think it's interesting, something that you said there is, like, there was this, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but there was this defensiveness towards your parents. Like, you feel like you almost have to justify their care and their love, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you are in this journey of like identifying when your parents didn't meet your emotional needs, and understanding that both of those things can be true at the same time, right? Because not
Yeah.
everybody recognizes that both of those things can be true. You can have parents that you believe loved you to the capacity that they could love you, and they also didn't meet your emotional needs. And it can be hard to feel justified in your own experience around not getting your emotional needs met when you still love and care for your parents and you see that they are human. But like, it doesn't neglect or negate what you experienced at the same time. Like, it's just so interesting. Is that how you kind of feel? Like, that, I don't know, that struggle between sitting with, like, I love my parents and I know they loved me, but also there's uncomfortable things that we don't talk about.
Yeah. And because, like, and everything, you know, I they cared for me, provided, I mean, never, you know, always had a roof over our head, food, like all that, took care. And they were both, or my mom's still alive. My dad is the one that's passed. And I had step parents too, or yeah, that's kind of complicated. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing, because it's like, I feel like lucky. I feel like I have great parents. But but there are those things that, yeah, so it just feels a little uncomfortable just because it's like, I don't want it to seem like they're not. But yeah, like you said, two things, like both things can be, you know, true at the same time. Yeah.
Well, and it's hard because like I completely get that. For a very long time, I felt like I had to choose, right? Between I had good parents or I had bad parents.
Mhm.
And it is much more complicated than that. Like, I grew up in a physically abusive and emotionally abusive household.
Mm.
I still love my parents and understand their flaws and understand that they loved me and still do to this day to the capacity that they are able to love me.
Yeah.
But they have their own wounds. They have their own
Yep.
traumas that they haven't been able to work through because of raising children or dealing with their career, or life just takes things off the to-do list, the larger to-do list,
Exactly. Yeah.
especially when you have many children. Like, I recognize that now as an adult, like, but I was cared for in a way that, like, I had a house, we had transportation. My mom took me to school almost every day. Like, I never had to take public transportation. I never wanted for food, or if I needed something, my parents could take care of it. Like, I could get
Yeah.
clothes that I needed, or, school supplies every year. Like, those are things that I didn't have to worry about. But
Mhm.
it also creates this intense juxtaposition when the emotional side is so not cared for. And so you have this experience of feeling like you are just wrong all the time. Like, you don't get to have your feelings because there's too much going on out here that you have to take care of. But I don't know I mean, obviously we have different upbringings, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
is interesting how that dynamic does play out for a lot of people. And I think that,
Yeah.
and I'm curious what you guys think too. Like, in this healing process, do you feel like you also had to choose between your parents being good people or bad people?
I do. Yeah, like I really struggled with that because like growing up same like we talked about there was that one side was emotional abuse and psychological stuff and all kinds of different weird things. And then there was very much like on the narcissistic end of the spectrum. And then there was kind of like emotional unavailability because of the domestic violence of it all. Do you know what I mean? Like there's, two people in a relationship and one is being coerced and abused and, you know, verbally assaulted every day. Yeah, that parent is not going to be emotionally available for you. So in going through my therapy journey, my recovery, trauma recovery journey, it's been definitely like a huge change in mindset for me, because that person I always like wanted this idealistic like mother-daughter relationship. I always wanted like the, oh, let's braid each other's hair and like go get our toes done and like like just do like the fun mother-daughter stuff that you would see other people do, and that just like wasn't something that was attainable for our relationship. And I was very bitter about that for a really long time. And after, a lot of work, and I don't know if that'll change in the future, but where I sit right now is that I do see the duality of the multidimensionality, really, of the situation, and that like no one is perfect. And as cliche as that sounds, like every person is handling such a mountain of weight of their own previous experiences through their childhood, generational cycles of violence and addiction and whatever. And then you also have like a really super complicated dynamic happening in present tense, and how that kind of translates, it's very complicated, and I can see that now, and I can see everybody as a whole. There were things that happened that weren't awesome and that caused a lot of damage. But, thankfully, there's a lot of resources that help, you know, move that process through a healing period, if that makes sense, and
Yeah.
get to a place where you can love and accept people for who they are. I'm not perfect either. Do you know what I mean? And I know I've done damage to people too. So it's that, like,
Yeah.
seeing
I'm
things
glad.
as a whole.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the generational trauma, because I was going to say that too, just how it kind of goes back to, like talking about my dad again. Like, he was a little emotionally guarded, but that also had to do with how he grew up, obviously, and things that he experienced and didn't deal with, which I don't even know a lot of that. I just know that it was a thing.
Mhm.
And I also just wanted to I just want to make it clear really quick that so I know I'm getting defensive, but because I don't want it to come off because me and my mom, she was my best friend, growing up. I always said she was my best friend, and I feel like that was a very, for the most part, healthy emotional relationship. It's just that I actually wasn't even aware of it, but once I went to therapy, the therapist pointed out that my mom relied on me a lot for emotional support from a young age that isn't necessarily healthy. But it wasn't anything I don't know. I wasn't abused, I wasn't, so I just wanted to make sure,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't get a t-shirt from it anyway. It's not awesome. So that's a good thing. And while we all have our own things that we come from, I've never lost a father,
Right.
so there's that's what's unique about us, is that we all come from different backgrounds and perspectives, and that doesn't negate what you've been through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, Margaret. And also, I feel like maybe we should define emotional neglect and abuse. Because I don't want people to assume that this is we're talking about emotional neglect today, but they do kind of go hand in hand sometimes. But emotional abuse is very much about demeaning you and calling you names, making you putting you down, being just cruel towards you, where emotional neglect is really a lack of attunement and a lack of meeting any emotional needs. And that's a very, very common thing. That doesn't, again, make your parents bad or make your relationship bad. A lot of people are not taught how to attune.
Yes.
A lot of people are not taught how to meet each other's emotional needs in general. It makes them uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable when you have not been somebody that attunes to other people and you start to do it and you experience what it is like to be present for somebody without taking that emotion on. It takes practice, and we don't practice it anywhere for the most part. Unless you're wanting to go out and learn it. So it is very prevalent, and I would say a large portion of the population experiences emotional neglect at some point. But that doesn't necessarily, if you experience emotional neglect, it is not necessarily emotional abuse, but they are closely linked.
Yeah, and in my situation, I was saying, emotional abuse happened from one parent, and then, kind of the emotional neglect was from the other. So it's you just, it's different but the same.
It is. And with disorganized parents, you can experience both. There's sometimes a lash out and then sometimes a retreat. And so you're experiencing them simultaneously. It seems it can be very interesting. But I personally, Amber, just want to confirm to you that I don't see that you had anything but loving parents. Your parents had flaws, which is a normal part of being human.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
we all go through stuff, and like I said,
think
nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because while you were talking, I was thinking how I am, because I think because of like my dad, especially because he was more like, you know, if you're crying, I'll give you a reason to cry. Like, it was very just like, I don't know. He was uncomfortable with like those emotions. And so it's interesting because for me, I feel like I got a lot of that from him. So I have trouble. I've worked on it. I'm actually a lot better now. But I would not cry very much. Like I hate crying in front of people. I don't like, it's hard for me to be like vulnerable with feelings and emotions. But on the other hand, I also consider myself like an empath. So I feel very strongly, like very strong feelings about other people and being there for other people. But so I was thinking about that. It's a weird dynamic for even just myself, like how those relationships and stuff kind of formed, I guess, how I am, like, obviously. But does that make sense? Like,
No,
I thought it was interesting, like, to think about.
Well, and I think it's interesting how you can receive both with different parents too. Like, I get what you're saying. You can feel very intensely of other people's emotions while also not understanding how to attune with somebody. Like, because one is very much like it's feeling the energy, right? You're just checking vibes and you're like, these vibes are sus. We're like, this is a good vibe. But you definitely don't have to participate in that, right? In that scenario. Like, attunement is about participation. And like it does require a level of like visibility with somebody and like just being, because I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this to be like about you, Amber, but it is about making it other than yourself, right? And like being an empath and being somebody who recognizes what's happening in a room is very much self energy focused. Like you're noticing what's happening within your body.
Right.
Attuning is very much pushing outwards and focusing on somebody else's experience. And so those, I can see how that can happen with both of those things and how it would feel weird. But it is interesting, like with my dad, you don't get out of this either, Dad, if you ever watch this. It's not
I'm like,
Mom. But my dad is also very emotionally unavailable. And like it took a long time for me to be able to start to have comfortable experiences with my dad because he is so closed off and he doesn't like to rock the boat and everything kind of has to be its specific way. But I recognize now that it's because I would say my dad is actually a very emotional person, but he is just so uncomfortable with the idea of emotion that he just shuts it all down.
That very much sounds like my dad, how he was. Because I would say he was an emotional person. But yeah, it was very much just closed in. Like he kept it all in.
For instance, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, Margaret, but
no, you're fine. Yeah, you're good.
I was just gonna give an example. Like when I got older, and once I started realizing, you know, what was happening in my life and in my family, I actually had an experience with my dad. So this was when my partner was at the peak of her alcoholism, and she almost died. She's going on 4 years sober, babe. Woo!
That's awesome.
It is. Right. But she was in the hospital and I stayed with her that full week, right? But I was very upset. And so when I went to my parents' house to like shower and clean up a little bit, I was sobbing in the shower. And later that day, my dad called me and he was like, you know, you just got to get it together. Like, you can't let this wear you down. Like, you've got to really think about what's going on and not be so emotional and so attached to it. And I was like, I need you to pause because this is an intense experience and I am allowed to be upset about it. Like, I understand that my discomfort or my being upset makes you uncomfortable,
Yeah.
But that is about you. That is not about what I'm experiencing. And crying is a perfectly acceptable way to release the amount of stress that I'm experiencing in this moment.
Yeah.
And having that conversation with my dad, actually, in that moment, I do give him kudos because he did come back and say, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. You are allowed to feel that way. And this is a really traumatic experience. And I didn't mean to try to control your emotions. It makes me uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, no, I totally get that. Like, but even it's weird to have to like coach your parent through.
I know.
Being like, hey, I know you don't like this, but this is how this actually works.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to coach your guys' parents through that kind of thing?
I feel like I'm
Not
going to get in
had.
trouble for this comment, but yes, in a covert way, I feel like I have. I think we all have experience to some degree with some like narcissistic personalities, right? Like
Yeah.
in some ways, you have to kind of like
Carry them along.
yeah, a little bit, or like I want to say like gentle parent them in a way. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes there's situations in which we have to explore our feelings about a thing, and kind of get I don't know what I don't know. I feel like I have done that, and I don't know how to phrase it correctly. That's not
Well,
going to get me a cease and desist.
I feel like
Oh boy.
okay, I've had to teach my parents how to meet my emotional needs.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's like I try not to handhold them through their own experiences. Like, but when we're directly relating to each other and like I'm going through something and I am wanting them to be able to have an experience with me or be able to attune with me, sometimes I have to take that extra step and help them be able
Oh,
to
interesting.
understand how to navigate meeting my own needs because they don't know how to. Like
Mm.
they're their own they haven't done that kind of work and that's
Right.
fine. But and I've taken on the role of being okay with it. Not everybody's okay with that. But I'm willing to help my parents be and they try to be pretty like understanding. Like
Yeah.
they try. So that's the other thing too. But I kind of have to help guide them to meet my emotional needs in general. And so I kind of think of it that way. It's not necessarily like you're not training your parents per se or like being above them, but you're just kind of giving them a hand. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah, that makes me think that's interesting because I'm just reflecting on my own experiences, and I feel like I have kind of just I think I've given them the pass as far as that, like as far as meeting my needs. I think that I have realized, and I don't know if this is probably also not healthy, but I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I actually don't need anything from you. I don't need anything. And if you just want to like call every couple months and catch up, that's neat. And if you don't, no big deal. And that's also fine. And because I don't know, that's just where I'm at, you know?
Well, and I would agree. Like um I try to maintain connection with my parents, but I've realized in maintaining connection, sometimes I have to teach them how to attune with me in order to have a good relationship. Like
Mhm.
because they are a lot of times things get back to them about what they're going through or what's happening with them. They might ask some questions, but it's usually just or they ask questions, but it's not necessarily about actually understanding me. It's
Mhm.
more so about hearing a story.
Got it.
And so sometimes in order to maintain like some form of bridge in that relationship, That's where I end up coming in. Like, because I don't want to be in a situation where, I don't know. I guess if I didn't have that aspect still, I also probably would be in that scenario. Like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this?
But it
Like,
honestly, on my end, like I don't see it as, I see it as like net neutral. Like to me, it's like I enjoy still having a relationship with them now that we've got, come from no contact to now reestablishing connection. Like I'm still okay. I'm enjoying it. But I just don't like you can just meet me as who you are. Like I don't need anything else. Like so, and I think that's like I said, maybe I should be trying to have conversations about attunement. I don't know. But to me this is what works because it's
yeah.
just like I don't know. I can meet my own needs. Do you know what I mean? And my husband is here to, help me with whatever I can't meet or whatever. Like I have my sister, I have friends like so I feel like I've kind of replaced some of those attuning, more like heavily attuning relationships with some of those other connections.
Mhm.
And like my parents are lovely in the things that they've contributed, and we can kind of just appreciate the forest for the trees right there,
Well, and I think that if I would say that I don't necessarily need to attune with them
Yeah.
because I do have other relationships, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that for me, it is not a net neutral though, without that.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
So it ends up because it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. That's a lot.
And like it takes a lot of energy to not do that. It
Okay.
actually
Got it.
takes less energy to do it because it feels like we're getting to some type of even ground
Gotcha.
versus this. I don't,
Like dynamic, like this weird
yeah,
dynamic.
it's a weird
Like it.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And without being too, you know, aggressive about things, my parents are still, potentially going to see this someday. So, um, but, and they do care about me.
Yeah.
But I know that in our conversations, a lot of times it can be very, vomity of like roughness. Like, let's just put it that way. And so
Mhm.
I want to get something a little bit more net neutral out of it
I
with
got you. That makes sense.
the like navigation around like how we actually interact because it
Yeah.
becomes a lot of like opinionated criticism.
Yeah.
So
That's not very, it doesn't feel very warm and fuzzy.
no. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna try this again. Let's
Yeah.
reroute this.
It's so
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm curious to hear what you guys think too. Like we've kind of focused on like the parental situation. What do
Yeah.
you feel like how have you experienced emotional neglect in like romantic relationships? Like I'll give an example first. Like I was in a, fairly, I mean, for like straight out of high school, early college, it was a year and a half. Like that was a decently long relationship at that time. Um but in that relationship, I kind of count that as my first like grown up um, relationship, for lack of better terms. Um, and that felt like a lot of energy being focused outward on my end, and then like little to none returned, And then it was like chasing these crumbs of affection, these crumbs of what I thought was love. And that was very reminiscent of this like maternal relationship. I felt like I kind of mirrored that on to this other person. So do you have any similar experiences, or what has that looked like for you?
Amber,
Um,
you want to go first?
sure. So, I mean, I've talked about my previous relationship because really that was, I mean, I guess I've only really been in like 2 serious relationships. So there was the ex for 6.5 years, and then my current technically fiance. I'd call him my husband because I mean we've been together. November will be 12 years. So, yeah, and we've been engaged for many years. So my family's always, yeah, when are you guys getting married? I think they've given up on it now. But anyways, so that relationship is like the main one I have. Like, well, I guess I've already talked about it because like I've talked about how he's high on like the narcissism scale, in my opinion, my non-diagnosed opinion.
You're talking about your ex, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so obviously with that comes a lot of emotional neglect, like a lot. And by the end of the relationship, especially, like I was so broken down. I used to like fight more, like, or like, you know, in arguments I would fight for myself more. And I just got so broken down, I would just get overwhelmed and I would go like lay in bed and cry. And that it was like it made him happy almost, like to see me like that. And so there was no emotional needs met at by the end of it, like at all. It's like the total opposite. And with my current relationship, I mean, it's been an issue, I think, on both sides a little bit. We talk about it. We're pretty open if like we're having an issue, like if I'm like, oh, I feel like you're not being sensitive or hearing me out enough on this. And he usually does the same. So we try to be pretty open about when we're feeling like, hey, I'm upset about this and I don't feel like you really care, like, or you're not really seeing me, you know? So I think it's healthy that we at least acknowledge it and talk about it. And yeah, that's my experience.
I feel like for me, it's very similar to yours in some ways, Amber, like in your current relationship. Like, I think that, I don't know, I don't know if I would go to the extent of saying it was emotional neglect. Mainly because okay, I'm going to say something that might be controversial, but I definitely feel like it is my responsibility to teach people how to care for me.
Yeah.
And so if my emotional needs aren't met, that means that I haven't done a good enough job explaining what I need. Or you don't care enough to change that.
Yeah, that was the other part I was going to say too. Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you time to see how you respond to the, information. But so for instance, my current relationship with Kayla. Sorry, babe. I totally said your name. Whatever. My current relationship, she's much more avoidant, right? She's not as emotionally expressive. And it has been a bit of a learning curve because I am somebody that does need high emotional attunement. Like I want somebody who is there with me and who will listen and hear me. And I know that sounds like it's not a lot, but like people are different, okay?
Yeah.
So she is just not generally one of those people. She's very quiet. She's very reserved. She doesn't really, talk a lot. And so sometimes when I'm having emotions, she doesn't know how to handle it. She's like, I don't know what to do. And so I've had to work with her on what I need to receive. Like when I am upset, this is what I need. When I am feeling doubtful, this is what I need. When I am feeling angry, this is what I need. And she has slowly but surely worked that into our relationship. And it has taken time. Like, this doesn't happen overnight because you are asking somebody who is completely different than you are in some ways to meet you where you're at. And not everybody is willing to do that. Not every I'm trying to think of a really cool metaphor. And it's just not coming to me, you know? Like, I want to say, like, not, for some reason, the thought that's going through my head is not every corn fits in the basket, and that is nothing. Like, what is that? There is
Not every
no
corn.
logic to that at all.
That's right, girl. Not every corn.
Not
fits in
every
that
corn
basket.
fits in the basket.
Oh my
It's a thing now. It's a thing now.
that
But
is funny. Thank you for sharing that.
not everything is meant for you. Like, and if somebody is consistently showing you that they're not willing to meet you where you're at, and those are something
Yeah.
that that's something that you need, then it's time to ask a harder question. But so I think that, sure, has she always met my emotional needs? No. But when, especially as an adult, I think it is different when it is a parent-child relationship. But as an adult, if I don't think she's ever done anything overtly, or I've been in a relationship where it has been overt. Like, I'm just not going to pay attention to your needs. Fuck your
Yeah.
needs. It's about my needs.
I love how like aware you are of like your like what you need, especially like with all these different emotions. I'm like, I mean, you're making me think. I'm like, I don't even know how I would like I don't even know if I know what I need half the time.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's what we were talking about before. Like, I'm sitting here 2 hours into an argument, finally realizing that I wasn't mad at you. I was mad because I didn't get the laundry list of things done that I wanted to get
Yeah.
done. Like,
Yeah.
and now I've just figured it out. Like, you're totally right, Mel, that it takes a long time in
Mhm.
attuning to yourself as well as attuning to your partner and having those conversations about, okay, I think moving forward, maybe let's try this if I present the same way. Or, okay, no, that didn't work. That actually made it worse. How about we try something totally different? Yeah, that makes like a huge difference. I know for me, like, I more prefer to be like left alone. Like, my ideal situation if I'm in a bad mood is to be in a dark, quiet room with absolutely nothing around me. Being a mom of a toddler, that is not happening in any reality that I live in. So that's difficult. But then, like, my husband, when he is upset, then like he wants to be comforted. So
Mhm.
those things are like totally different, absolutely opposing. So it's like hard trying to, like, if I was in that situation, I would want this, but that's not what it is. He's
Mhm.
in this situation and this is what he needs.
Yep.
It's hard to do. Yeah. Takes a lot of
I
practice.
can relate to that for sure.
Well, and I
Yes.
think that a lot of people don't ask that question. Like, what does this person need in this scenario? A lot of us think about it from our own perspective. And that's not a bad thing. That's just, you know, how it works. Like, that's what we are kind of, our frame of references, you know? So I think that we've all grown up in this idea like, oh, I should think about how I would like something. And then, but that's where we get a lot of miscommunications too. I feel like I'm really going off on a tangent here. But, but I get like a lot of us kind of use our own frame of reference, but we don't think about how that would be for somebody else in different experience in a different like environment that they grew up in. There was
Right.
actually something, there was a study just released that our entire beliefs have everything to do with geography and not necessarily to do with our own like opinions or beliefs. So like politically, religiously, emotionally, it has more to do with your direct group and what you grew up in
That makes
versus
a lot of sense. Yeah.
versus your actual true beliefs for most people. And so thinking about how that relates to your own experiences of how you're showing up in relationships and how you're showing up emotionally, it can kind of help give you a good parameter on what you might need to be adjusting in your relationships.
That's a really good point and super insightful. And I think like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense about how geography like influences what you believe or really comes up with the idea of what you believe. Because think about like where we live in the United States versus being, you know, in Europe versus in Africa versus Asia, like all of these different like locations and socioeconomic statuses and ethnicities and race and religion, like all of these different things formulate who we are as human beings anyway. So that's really interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, and it's another thing, this might be controversial, but most people who are Christian, if they grew up in India, would be Muslim. They would not be Christian.
Right. Yeah.
And it is mainly because of geography and where the main thing growing up in that area. And it has very much less to do with the actual stories and tellings of the Bible versus the Quran. But just food for thought.
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic. I think in the future, like I would really love to get into religion and all of the things because oh man, there's so much there. But
really
yeah, that's very interesting.
well, and I guess go ahead.
Well, I was gonna change.
No, go ahead. You're okay.
Please.
I wanted to go back to because I've been thinking obviously this whole time.
Yeah.
It feels weird to
Thinking?
say that. Thinking. Weird. I know. Weird concept. But I thought I was thinking about how my mom, when I was talking about my mom and how she like relied on me a little bit for like a little too much, I think, for emotional support when I was younger. It's actually interesting because now I've told her and she jokes about it because I think I offended her. Because I said something along the lines of like that she has trouble expressing emotions. And I think she took that. I don't know the words. I don't know. I want to say that she says that I think she's dead inside or something. She jokes about it.
Okay.
Like we joke about it. But I just thought it's interesting how that changed because she wasn't always like that. She was like a lot more about emotions and everything. And so I was thinking about the reasons why, and part of it is she's had medical conditions, like she's had strokes, which I think changed things, and then just like experiences, as in like throughout time. But I was thinking about how it was just interesting because I was like imagining, I don't know if she's watching, but if she was watching, I was like thinking what she would be probably surprised about what I was saying before. And she would probably be sitting there thinking like, you think I don't have emotions or I don't have feelings or something like that. So I just wanted to like
say that I relied on you too much.
I don't know. I guess I was just like thinking how it's interesting how people can also change, like, being one way, like, and then over time for whatever reason, just kind of go a different opposite way.
Like
the complexities of being a human.
Right.
Yeah. I think I wanted to add to your point just like a little bit, but maybe like in a different way. So like my mom also like had told me, things, and when I was growing up and going through puberty and going through all like there's a lot of conversations you have with your family. I don't know. Sometimes people have conversations with their family, I should say, because some people don't talk about anything. But like we, had conversations about all those things, and she was telling me about men and telling me about what to look out for and things to be careful of. And in some ways, like then I was like, oh my God, like this is so much information for like a 12, 13-year-old person to like take in. Mm-hmm. And some things I feel were maybe like a little too much, but actually like looking, and I know like there's boundaries there, especially with like kids underage and all the things of like things you should discuss in an age appropriate way and blah, blah, blah. But like really now I look back on it, and I'm grateful because I feel like I got like a really honest perspective where like, yes, could it have been a little bit more age appropriate? Sure. But the gist got across that there's things to look out for, be careful of, there's things to be excited about, things to, there's a lot of things. And and I'm grateful for it now because I feel like I in my 32-year-old shoes, I feel like I would appreciate that perspective more than being lied to, and I would appreciate that perspective more than having no conversation at all and then finding it out on my own. So there's stuff like that where it's like, could your parent be too reliant on you? Sure, you know, but I don't know. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Like, I don't know. It's not, it doesn't mean that it's okay,
Yeah.
but
I will
maybe it is also.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I will say I do appreciate, and I can say that like my parents, one thing absolutely true is like they're very honest people. Like, and luckily that transferred to me. My family jokes about how I can't lie. Like I'm the worst liar. I give myself away, and I don't even do it. Like obviously when I was younger, you know, like little things, like even just like getting a gift and then being like try to hide it, and like I give myself away anyway. So I will say both my parents, honesty, it was always a big thing, and I do appreciate that because I know a lot of people don't have that, and I hate being lied to. So I can say that is one thing I'm very fortunate and appreciate about my parents.
Nice.
Yeah. Do we have any last minute things we want to say about emotional neglect before we switch gears into our favorite inspirational, happy, wonderful things?
One thing that I would like to say is what having your emotional needs met looks like.
Oh, great.
Yes.
So a big thing is active presence. So listening attentively, validating experience, showing physical affection, emotional safety is a really big one. So no matter what the other person says in that moment, trying to maintain some sense of control in what's going on. Arguing constructively instead of arguing to win is a really big part of that too. When somebody's being vulnerable with you, keeping their secrets and trying to do it consistently, as well as celebrating the good things that happen, acknowledging when somebody does something right, acknowledging when, they're having a hard time and checking in with them during that hard time.
Yeah.
And being willing to accept imperfection. Not everybody is going to be able to do everything exactly in the way that you need it. And the bigger, more important aspect is that they tried.
Yeah.
And they're working towards it. And just remembering those things when you are working with somebody and trying to meet their needs. And also, one final thing is you have to teach people how to meet your needs. And I talked about that just a little bit ago, but you really do. You have to, if you don't know what you need, they don't know what you need.
Right? I know, that was like something I need to work on for sure.
If you don't know what you need, they don't know what you need. Like, you have to really kind of look within yourself first and see, okay, do I even know what I need right now? Am I just expecting them to guess?
That's a really good point. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I also do just want to remind everybody that not everybody's corn fits in your basket. That's the lesson. If you forget it all, it's that, okay?
I don't know where the hell that came from.
Yeah. I just love that you shared that you were like, I'm trying to think of a really cool metaphor.
And all I can think is not every clone fits in the basket.
I love that you shared it though.
That was great.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, well, let's speed round real quick in the last couple minutes our favorite things that we're working on. So for me, my thing that's bringing me joy lately is I am today I worked a lot on like designing and getting things ready. Whoever is around Delaware or in the Delaware area, on August 29th, there's going to be a yoga festival called the Ohmfest Yoga Festival, put on by Shakti Yoga Tribe. And I'm going to have a booth there, my very first outing as a trauma recovery coach out in the wild. So come see me. Tickets are online. You can search Ohmfest 2026, or I will also post the link if anybody wants to get tickets. Come hang out, say hi. Don't make me be out there by myself in the heat all day. But I'll have some fun things, some giveaways. So it should be good. What about you guys?
That's awesome. We would stop by, but we're like on the other side of the country. So.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. I know you'll be there in spirit.
Yeah,
absolutely. You want to go, Amber?
Sure. So I have been obsessed with this game on my phone. It's called Word Picks, and
nice.
it's I like it because it makes you think a lot. Like, it really challenges you. And you play against like other people. It's like a one-on-one competition. But so you have to you get letters and you have to use them to like there's a picture and you have to spell it out. But a lot of them aren't even like they're not straightforward. It doesn't tell you what it is. So it's like you can interpret it different ways. So like some of them are really not obvious, and some of them I don't even like. I don't even know. I'm like, I have no idea what that word is, but I really like it because it gets my brain going, and I'm pretty good at it. Like I win, I win most of them. So I don't know. I have spent probably too much time playing lately, but it's a fun game. Yeah, it's called
a nice little dopamine hit. Cool. What's it called one more time?
Word Picks.
Cool. Okay. Neat. Neat. What you got going on there, Mel?
I am okay. This is a little in the future, but I have been stewing on it since August 1st. I have tickets to see Noah Khan at the end of the month.
Nice.
And I am just so excited. Like so excited. I sold a Seahawks jacket so that I could get these tickets. Like,
nice.
And I missed out on the first sale, and he added a second date, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I showed up 45 minutes early and managed to get a ticket. And I took whatever I could get. So it's like top tier nosebleeds. But I was like, who cares? I'm going to see it. And I am so stoked to see Noah Khan. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
When is it?
Noah Khan? Or when is it?
When? Yeah.
August 31st.
Okay.
So
it's so exciting when you have something like that to like look forward to, though. It's so exciting.
I'm a super duper fan. So it's going to be dream come true. Dream come true. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, that's awesome.
I cried when I didn't get the first night.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, we need pictures and videos, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sitting here and going live with me. I really appreciate you. And thank you for everybody who watched. Appreciate you all. And let us know if you have any other questions, comments, stories you want to tell. You can include it in our email. I'll throw it up here real quick. Our email is t3live@proton.me. We'd love to hear from you. And until next week. See you guys.
Bye, guys.